FatDag is a Weight Watchers leader in Indianapolis, Indiana. However, the views and opinions expressed during this podcast are his own. They do not represent the views of Weight Watchers. And now, here's your host and wingman, FatDag.
I am your host, FatDag. You're listening to WhysAdvice. My weight loss journey failed when I focused on how. It wasn't until I switched my focus to why that I truly transformed myself. Join the show on the web at FatDag.com and follow along on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at WhysAdvice. Send in your comments, your questions, and your celebrations. I'll include them as part of the show. But before we dive in, remember, when you're out of points, stop eating points. Hey, I'm honored to be your wingman as we walk through this journey together because I believe in you. Well, hello, welcome to episode 139 of WhysAdvice. It's an honor to be here with you on the eve of Veterans Day observed, but the actual holiday is in the morning. By the time this hits the air, it'll be Veterans Day, and it's kind of a special day all around. Anyone who's, military family or, dependent at all, connected to the service, or even if you're just a supporter of the military, this day is for you. This is the day where we just honor everyone who's raised their right hand, says, I want to do this. And I'll take it one step further, and it certainly doesn't tie into Veterans Day, but this is kind of one of those cool holidays where I get to celebrate the fact that I get to do what I love. And it's all because of the support I have in the community, not just with the weight loss, but with the entire support of everything that I do. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the tags, all the posts, all the comments. I saw many of them today, just wishing me a happy Veterans Day. And I want to extend that to anyone listening who is currently serving, who's previously served, someone who served, however that ties into your world. Thank you. But think about that for a second is we have an actual day to celebrate this. You need a day to celebrate as well. And so celebrate something in your life as well, because I tell you, it feels good when you get to celebrate something. And so you have your birthday, you have Mother's Day, you have Father's Day, you have all the typical holidays, but how about celebrating the day that you took care of you? How about celebrating the day that you decided to change your life? For me, that was also March 8th. That was the day that I said, I've had enough. I'm joining Weight Watchers for the very last time, and I'm going to go ahead and get this done. And from this point on, I will take care of my life. I want you to do that. I want you to find your day. And I want you to tell me what day it is. Tell me how proud you are of you for everything that you've done to change your life. And that is your holiday. It's a new day in your life. And so just like Veterans Day, it's a day where I decided to do something, different. And I stepped up to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But I want you to swear to defend you. That's right. Take care of you and let's get it done. Diana writes in, she says, Dear Mike, I've reached lifetime status September 2nd, 2017. As exciting as that is and accomplished as I feel, lifetime terrifies me. I feel that I will let my guard down and go back to my old habits. I've caught myself doing it once, and although I recognize it immediately and I still track faithfully, it scares me. I admit that I kept myself in weight loss mode when I was in my 6 weeks, although I used all of my weeklies and some fit points, which I wasn't doing consistently before. My brain hasn't caught up with my body. My inner fat girl doesn't see the new me. I feel I am still mentally struggling, transitioning from loss to maintenance and onward. Any suggestions of a lifetime newbie? Am I being paranoid and scared? Any thoughts? Diana. Well, Diana, congratulations on hitting a lifetime. Let's start there. You've completely changed your life. You took control. You celebrated the day that we just talked about, and you reached lifetime September 2nd. That's a day that you're never going to forget. The day you joined, the day you hit lifetime, you'll never forget those days. So congratulations on putting a plan into place. Congratulations on working through that plan. Congratulations on going through an entire cycle of ups and downs and continuing to go until you got to a point where you considered it lifetime. That's an amazing accomplishment. Just as you said, as exciting as it is and as accomplished as you feel, it terrifies you. Now let's stop with the terrification part, where the part where you're actually scared of this is you've just proven that you can do this. Stop right there and understand that you can do this. That the time it took you from the time you joined to the time you hit lifetime, very few people, if anybody, was 100% perfect. So rather than being scared, be confident in knowing that you did it. Be confident in knowing that still tracking faithfully is what got you there. Yeah, eating a couple weekly points, sure. Eating some fit points, sure. That is going to be part of the balance that you have to work on for the rest of your life. You're going to have the ups and downs. And what you need to know is that as you continue to work this and things maybe start to creep up, you know that you have, without a doubt, 100% confidence in your ability to nip it in the bud and take care of it and get back to where you want to be. It does take a while for the brain to catch up. There's a couple things you've got to do along the way. And one of the best things I can recommend, it deals with our clothing. And it's just kind of, you got to put some measures in place to kind of get that brain to catch up to you. And the clothing piece is the big one. You can always wear something that is a size or two too big. Easy, but it's very difficult to wear something that is a size too small. But a size too big, 2 sizes too big, heck, even sometimes something 3 sizes too big, you can wear around the house, you can lounge around in it, you can bum around in it. So a lot of us, when we hit lifetime, we're so attached to our closet and we don't truly know what the true size we're supposed to be wearing is. So we go to try things on and we don't really test ourselves to see really how far down we can go in the size scale. So I want you to go do that. I want you to spend some time in a dressing room trying on sizes you've never tried on before. See the difference in what fits perfectly versus what's just maybe a half a size or a size too big. Because as I said, you can always wear something that's a half a size or a size too big. So therefore, you don't start recognizing a little bit of, maybe potential weight gain as it goes up. So therefore, and all of a sudden that size too big, we start growing back into it. So I say anything that's too big, it's got to go. You got to donate it, you got to sell it, you got to give it away, you got to do something with it so that you never go back. More important than that, though, is you've got to recognize everything that you did along the way. You got to now recognize things that you're doing now that you never would have done before. And you got to write them down and celebrate them. And I open up every show and I write these down for you. I write down in my book of things that people are doing that they never were able to do before, or things that they're now suddenly realizing. And when you start thinking just before the show, it said, I bought a belt for the first time in my life. And think about that for a second, right? Man, there's someone at one point, never was too afraid to buy that. And now you've done that. When you hit lifetime, that all of a sudden will just be normal. You'll put that belt on a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now. You'll wear that belt and you'll just forget that you never were able to buy one. So it's important to write those things down as they happen and keep an eye on them. And every once in a while, go back and reread it. It's very important to the journey. I personally, I'm in the daily wear mode. I don't necessarily recommend it, but I use that as I set limits. I am going to balance my life. I'm going to balance my social calendar with my eating calendar, and I'm going to maintain all that, but I'm going to keep an eye on my weight, keep my clothing fitting perfectly, and I'm just going to trust the fact that if I hit lifetime, just like you've hit lifetime, you can do this. And once you know it can be done, and once you know you can do it, it's just a matter of how bad do you want it. And I'm betting that the feeling you have of being accomplished feels so much better than anything else you've ever felt that you'll stay there. Get rid of the stress and celebrate. Jeff writes in and says, I've been trying to catch up since discovering your podcast, and I just listened to episode 24. What you said about working on attendance goals instead of performance goals was spot on. When I first got my Fitbit, my intention was to use it as a tool to keep my record of my activity to find out what was working and what wasn't. I set a daily step goal of 10,000 and I would achieve it most days. I didn't worry much about it when I didn't. Eventually, it became an obsession for me to reach goal every single day, and I even kept bumping my goal up until it was about 16,000. Many nights, I would be pacing like a madman for an hour or so, trying to get my steps in before midnight, only to turn around and do it all over again the next day. It got to the point where I hated it. I finally came to terms with the fact that this would not be sustainable for life and set my goal back to 10,000. Some days I don't reach it, and some days I double it. But good or bad, I show up every day. I know that the performance will increase naturally as long as I'm committed to the attendance. Thank you for your common sense approach to the Weight Watcher plan and for all the work you do to make this podcast possible. More importantly, thank you for your service to our country and the work you do for our soldiers who are struggling with the weight issues. You've been a real inspiration to me and many others, Jeff. And Jeff is on Connect at JEFTEX. So, Jeff, thank you for your email. And yep, you're completely right. I'm a firm believer in the attendance goal model. Sure, you can hit 16,000 steps a day, and I've seen it time and time and time again as you're up till midnight trying to win a challenge, trying to win a work week challenge, trying to win a daily showdown or something along those lines, and it takes you out of a sustainable model. In a lot of cases, I participated early on too, and I started doing that, and what I realized was, I can't sustain this either. Just like you did, I came to the realization that, let's be real, I'm not going to do this for the rest of my life. So why am I going to rely on that to get me to a place where at some point I'm going to back down? If I use exercise as my weight loss mechanism, what happens when I can't exercise? So for me, it was very important to focus heavily on the food side and use the attendance model to get me to the point where I knew that I had the confidence that no matter what I was doing fitness-wise, I had control over the food side of it, and I was able to hit my goal and reach my goal. If you've been following along for a little while, what you'll know is last year, or coming up on a year ago, I set an attendance goal, or a performance goal, I should say, I wanted to run a mile a day for the entire year in 2017. Now, if you remember that, I started great. January 1st, went out and ran a mile. January 2nd, a mile. 3rd, a mile. And I kept going. And January 5th or 6th, it started snowing. And I went out and I ran my mile. So I was committed to running a mile every single day, and I enjoyed it for a couple weeks. And then at some point, logistically, it became difficult to do. I found myself going out at 11:30, 11:45 at night, running a mile, and then as the clock struck midnight, getting another mile in so I could get 2 days on one run. And I would do that in the middle of January, in the middle of Indiana, and all of a sudden, the logistical side of it caught up with me. And I had to then make the decision, am I going to abandon this and admit defeat, or am I going to go back to the point where I enjoy running? Because when it became such a chore to do it, I started, just like you, I started resenting it. And actually started to the point where I actually didn't like to run because it represented something that I actually didn't fully have time to do. So it lasted about 18 days for me, and I said, no, I'm done. And as I look at my running calendar for the rest of the year, I don't know what the numbers are. Maybe I'll add them up, but I probably did average it throughout the course of the year with all the running that I did. But that's not the point. The point is the exercise part of this journey has to be something that's sustainable, that you enjoy doing, that you do because you want to do. And I'd still recommend you do as little as possible so that you can keep it up daily and or very, very often so that you build a healthy habit of working out. That is the piece that's going to get you to goal. I can just picture you now pacing your house like a madman, trying to get to 10,000, trying to 16,000, trying to win a challenge. But what's happening is you're losing a bigger battle. And what happens, if you, a thing I say all the time, what happens if you hit an injury? If you're using 20,000 steps a day to help you maintain and to help you lose weight, what happens if you go on a trip that you don't have access to a place to walk potentially, or you sprain an ankle, or something happens along your journey where now, let's just say you get older. And when you get 85, 90 years old, you're not going to be able to walk 16,000 steps a day. It's just not physically possible. So I want you to build a habit of things that you can do to can just enjoy, to keep your brain knowing that you're in the game, that the brain says you're fit and active, but you focus on the food side of this, continuing to track, continuing to do everything you need to do on that side of the equation, and that will bring you to your goal. And when you get to goal, you'll understand that, the performance side will increase because you're at a healthy, sustainable weight, and the habits then become just a little more and a little deeper, and you actually start to enjoy the workout, and you're doing everything that you can. So Jeff, thank you for your email. It's an honor to work this journey with you. I can't wait to hear about all your success. Jennifer writes in and she says, "Good morning. My name is Jennifer, or DRAIKAINA 8503. I'll put it in the show notes on Connect. This morning, August 29th, 2017, I listened to the podcast for the very first time. I follow you on Connect, and I've known about it for some time. I started back in May, on May 22nd, as my birthday present to myself. But like one of your emails you read today, I was skeptical that this would help me. I'm not blind when I look in the mirror. I'm fully aware of the 200 plus pounds I need to lose when I began. I knew what a daunting journey it was going to be, but I had been given an ultimatum by my doctor the year before: to lose weight or die. I tried, and the weight became a yo-yo until I weighed more than I had at that one medical appointment. Something had to give, and so in desperation, I reached out to Weight Watchers for the second time in my life. I had lost 30 pounds before, but I hadn't been committed enough to continue with it. And I had put on at least 75 pounds since that first rodeo with Weight Watchers. So in May, I was at the end of my rope. I felt good about what I was doing. In June, I encountered a couple walking into the gym as I was leaving. They were pointing and laughing at me because of my size. I sat in the car for several moments before pulling off and going home. Who was I to think I could ever look like that? Who was I to think I could be successful? I actually posted about this on Connect, and it was the first time I truly felt the outpouring of love from that group. My people, as my meeting leader puts it, I decided I was doing this to be the healthiest version of me, not for anyone else. Here we are, a little over 3 months from my beginning. I had a 3-pound gain this week, but I was expecting it. I made horrible choices for some days, but I tracked it, and I knew what I had to do. In 3 months with that gain, I'm down 38 pounds. Do I have more to go? Absolutely. Do I plan on giving up? No, not at all. But I'm faced with a hard time at the moment. Maybe not hard, but just something I'm not used to. I am working 40 to 45 hours a week, and I returned to school this semester. One of the reasons I knew last week I had made bad decisions was because my time management slacked, and I wasn't prepared for what school would actually bring this time around. So with the lack of time, I normally had to prep food and pre-cook what I could. My question is this: when you don't have time to cook 2 meals, what do you do when your spouse isn't totally on board with your plan? My husband is very supportive of me losing weight until it comes to eating what I eat. Should I just reduce the portion size, or do I need to make myself find the time to make 2 meals? I apologize if you've answered this previously, as I've not listened to all the podcasts, but I felt something totally sincere in your message today, and I really do believe you are our wingman. Thank you for your service, both military and as a Weight Watcher lifetime member. Jennifer. Jennifer, what an amazing journey you're on, and I'm very proud of you, and I want to open up with that because you've been through a lot. I mean, let's just go right from the beginning. Your doctor gives you an ultimatum: lose the weight or die. Hearing those words, that's to the point where you say, okay, something has to be done. And you took control and started doing it. That's an amazing celebration. And, so many people get that diagnosis, but then they still struggle to see it as the reality as it was. I understand exactly where you're going. It's a common email that I get is that I didn't believe this podcast would help me, and so sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. We talk about so many different things out here, but I'm glad that you took the time to tune in, and I'm glad that you took the time to write in, because when you write in, you share it. That is what other people understand and begin to know that none of us are on this journey alone. We all have similar stories. Everything we talk about is very much tied together. Whether you're 5 pounds overweight, whether you're 50 pounds overweight, whether you're 100 pounds overweight or more, it's the same feeling of not liking where we're at, maybe giving an ultimatum, but trying a couple times, knowing that it works, not being able to sustain it. That's when you say, I was at the end of my rope. I think we've all been there, and that's what pushes us to join. When you get to the end of that rope is where the story begins. That's the story that you write down, and you say, okay, I'm at the end of my rope. This is what it looks like. This is what it feels like. This is what happens when I win. This is what happens if I don't win. The fact that you lost 30 pounds the first time on Weight Watchers, and then admittedly you weren't committed enough to continue with it, that tells me one thing. It tells me you're a winner. 30 pounds does not happen by accident. You don't just wake up suddenly and go, oh my goodness, I'm down 30 pounds. I had no idea. So the fact that you were able to follow the plan, continue with the plan long enough to lose 30 pounds is a huge advantage for you right now. Folks on Connect, who they see success of other people, and they see that as someone else has success, that they think that maybe it's possible that they can have the success as well. You've taken it a step further. You've gone one step beyond seeing something and wondering if it works. You've actually put forth the effort, and you have proven to yourself that you can make it work. That's how you got down 30 pounds. So as you now start this journey and continue to work the journey again, what you know is that you can do it. Now, it does come down to time management. It comes down to changing your lifestyle. You have to find a way to find things that work for your journey. If you're not willing to completely change your life, then you're going to be stuck in the life that you currently have that puts you at the end of your rope. I don't know if it's 2 meals. I don't know if that's the answer. I don't know if it's waking up earlier and prepping a meal for you. I don't know what your answer is. What I know is if you know why you're doing this, if you understand that you're at your end of your rope, you understand you've been given a diagnosis of lose the weight or die, that right there will fuel you to find out whatever it is that'll make it work. Now, I believe that you can do that. I believe you can find the answer. And I believe as you ask the question, you're trying to find a way to sustain what I consider is your how. And I want you to break away from that model. I want you to say, you know what? I'm worth it. I know I can do this. I know I can fight hard and win. And if that means getting up earlier to make 2 meals, and I get up or make 2 meals. If that means figuring out a way where maybe he makes the meals, right? And you support each other on your journey. There were absolutely times in my journey when we did have 2 different dinners, but that didn't matter. What mattered is whatever I was doing because I knew that I had to get this done. And the fact that you've lost 30 pounds the first time doing it just continues to prove to yourself that you can do this. And if you focus on that as your prize, and you're down 38 pounds, you've continued to prove once again that you're doing it. No, you're not going to quit. I believe that you're not going to quit. I think now you know what you have to do. And you have to just figure out the way to balance your life. And a lot of times I say, do your best, right? And your best is figuring out what your new routine is as you adjust back to a busy life of school. You sit down with everyone in the household and say, hey, here's what the goals are, family. You have two choices. This is what I'm making for dinner. You can have it. But if I don't commit to my goal, you heard what the diagnosis was. So you can either support me on this journey and we can live happily ever after, or we've got to find a way to make it all work out. Now, Jennifer, again, I'm honored to be your wingman as you walk through this. I really do believe you can do this. I'm so glad you took the time to write in, because when you take the time to jot some of these thoughts down, that will probably get you on the right path. Keep doing everything you're doing. You're down 38 pounds. It didn't happen by accident. Keep up the great work. The next email up is Marie. She's hit her 10%. She says, "Dear FatDag, I've been waiting all day for this for a little while. I recently started listening to the podcast, maybe a month or so ago. Hearing everyone's stories, their successes, their challenges has been such an incredible inspiration for me. I take you all with me during my morning workouts when I listen to the podcast. It helps me push myself to do the best that I can. Anyway, today is a celebration for me. At this morning's weigh-in, I lost 3.6 pounds, bringing me to 38.6 pounds, gone forever. Today's weigh-in also got me to my 10%. I've been emotional all day. I've had my eyes on this first major milestone for a while, and reaching it feels incredible. I started Weight Watchers for the umpteenth time back in July 7th as an online-only member after a meeting with my new doctor. There was no lecture, no scolding. She simply asked me, "What are you going to do about this weight?" We talked about how I was a candidate for surgery. At 385 pounds, high blood pressure, cholesterol, have sleep apnea, and recently diagnosed type 2 diabetes. Of course I was a candidate. I didn't want the surgery. I've had other procedures before and had horrible reactions to the anesthesia. Quite honestly, there's a part of me that is afraid I won't ever wake up after going under. But there was something more. I knew I had to learn how to have a healthy relationship with food. Yes, the surgery would force me to do it and give me a jump start, but my mind raced with the thought that if my current health conditions hadn't done it to that point, then how different would it be if I had the surgery? I also knew that before I could have the surgery, I would need to start making changes right away. So if I was already going to be making the changes, why shouldn't I go the whole way? My doctor asked me if I had done anything in the past to lose weight. I told her I had done Weight Watchers a few times. She asked why I stopped. She said, "Did it stop working?" My response is, "No, I did." At that moment, something started to click. I told her I would sign up, schedule my 6-month checkup, and she would see less of me then. I wondered how many times she's heard that before. I wondered how many times I've said that before. It doesn't matter now, though, does it? Because I am doing it. The first 2 months, I worked on sticking and tracking and water. Just as my doctor suggested, I was afraid of the exercise. Heck, walking had me gasping for breath many days. What could I do? I did start walking, and I started to build up some stamina. In September, I re-signed up for the YMCA just down the road from me. I was ashamed, scared to go in there. Most of these people would be healthy, they'd be thin, they'd make it look easy. I wasn't sure I could face that. In the end, I decided I didn't care. I could go on and be embarrassed for a little bit, or stay home and not do my best at taking care of myself. Those first days were hard. I felt self-conscious, and even small efforts felt like climbing mountains. But I kept at it. I found a recumbent elliptical machine that was easy on my back, my knees, and my hips, but it got my whole body moving. Baby steps, I vowed, baby steps. Within a month, I was pushing myself to the point of mental and physical exhaustion. I am very much an all-or-nothing personality. I was on the verge of saying I just wasn't meant to exercise. I cried in frustration. I wanted this so bad. I just couldn't meet the expectations that I set in my head. And then you came along, FatDag. You talked about attendance goals, not performance goals. Could it really be that simple? Stop worrying about how much I'm doing, just the fact that I'm doing something. Just get there and do something. The concept blew me away. It changed the way I thought about activity. It's changed the way I'm living my life. Now the people at the Y know me by name. Getting in my workout is the second thing I do in my day after I drop my youngest daughter off at high school. That is my time. Sometimes I even go twice in a day, not because I have to, but because it's time I spend with my husband or my friends. My daily workout lasts just over an hour, and I'm now hitting about 17,000 steps at a level 7 on the machine. I started at a level 3 or 4 and maybe got in half of that in the less time. It feels good to push myself. Along the way, I discovered I'm worth the work and I focus on myself. For years, I pushed all of that aside because I said I was just too busy with the kids, my husband, my job, the house, when deep down, I just didn't feel worthy. What difference does it make if I didn't take care of myself? Well, I can tell you the difference it makes. I'm finding confidence I never thought I had. I'm starting to live my life in ways I never felt that I could. I don't feel like I've had to hide from the world because I was sure I would be the biggest person in the room. Would I fit into a seat? Could I walk that extra distance? The answer to those questions just caused so much heartbreak. It certainly didn't help my depression. I'm not hiding my journey. I can't hide the fact that I'm significantly overweight. Why hide the fact that I'm doing something about it? In the past, it's been my secret. Yes, it's personal, but sharing it has helped me so much. I write about it often in my blog. I post it on Facebook, including on your page. The wingmen there have been the glue that holds all of this together. I am not alone. I have a community of people who've all got my back. And sharing encouragement just helps my journey. Seeing others meet their goals just motivates me more and more. For the first time ever, I feel like I'm going to make my goal. I've written down my long list of whys in my journal. One day, I might be able to narrow it down to just a few, but putting them on paper made it real for me, which figures since I am a writer. Goal is a long way away, but it's there waiting for me. I'm keeping my focus on it, and I'm letting it guide my choices. There won't always be perfect, but my eyes are on the prize. And I'm embracing the fact that I can be the prize. My best friend told me the other day that she wanted what I have. I told her it's possible for anyone. Be kind to yourself. Make yourself a priority. You are worth it. Thank you doesn't begin to express my appreciation for all the time, effort, and energy you put into your podcast and just helping others. I'm honored to have you as one of my wingmen. Thank you for your service to our country and serving all of us. It's a debt we can't repay. Here is to the next 10%, Marie. Marie, thank you so much for your email. What an amazing accomplishment, 38.6 pounds to get your 10%. And as you know, if you've proven to yourself you can hit 10%, all you've done at that point is proven you can set a goal and proven that you can hit a goal. And if you've done that, you've proven to yourself that you can hit any other goal in this journey. Congratulations. Hitting 10% is proof that you can hit your goal. I'm so honored to walk this journey with you. And let's talk about your incredible journey. Now, often we'll see, weight loss surgery come up as an option. And it's a very viable option for many people. But I believe what you understood is you were at that point where you could have gone either way. Not everyone's been given that choice. And you've been given the choice where you had an option to give it one last chance. And you're taking full advantage of it. Down 10%. You've started to change your life. You started to adjust your habits. Everything you've done to get your 38.6 pounds down is what you then can continue to do to enjoy the rest of your life. Your doctor absolutely sounds brilliant. I love what she said is that, did Weight Watchers stop working? Did it quit working for you? And the realization that you came to on your own was, you know what? Actually, no. It's not the program that doesn't work. It was me that didn't work. And so often we see that. Everybody who, as they walk this journey, start having some success. And as the complacency piece kicks in, we start drifting away. And we have to understand that if we work the plan as designed, the plan works. And so when you came to that realization is that you could actually do this, that is when you started hitting your goal. That's when you started getting your way into your 10%. And you're right, getting to the gym every single day and overdoing it is not the way to do this. Focus on the piece of just use exercise as a way to just change your mind and change your mind as you're just a healthy, fit person. And then you add the eating component in by tracking everything you're doing. And that is when you start having success. Now the gym fear is real. So many of us believe that as we walk into the gym is full of people who are just completely fit and they're going to make fun of us. And as we heard earlier on this show, is there some unkind people out there? The reality is there are folks out there who just aren't on the journey that we're on. But I can tell you the strength, the courage of walking into an unknown situation because you are so willing to take care of you is where the success is. And in 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, when you're living a healthy, fit lifestyle, none of that fear will matter. The pain of everyone, that you believe looking at you and saying things to you, it goes away when you get there. And what's amazing about your journey is you've already set the example of being a prize. So what I want you to do when you get to the point where you hit your goal, because you're going to hit your goal, and you're going to at that point be continuing to go into the gym, I want you to look for the person who you would have been walking in that gym. And I want you to go to them and say, you can do this. I know you can do this because the reason I know you can do this is because when I walked into the gym for the very first time, I didn't know I could do it, but I did it. And when you do that, you be the prize, just like you said, and something very beautiful happens is you start to take care of you. You start to spread this love and sharing it across the world. And just like you said, you found that confidence that you never thought you had. You're living your life in ways you never thought you could. You don't have to hide from the world because you think you're the biggest person. When all that goes away, you need to take that and give that gift to somebody else. Somebody else needs to know that those feelings that they have can go away. You've proven it. It's why I continue to do this show. It's what motivates me to keep going is not that I'm afraid of gaining my weight back, because I don't believe that's possible for me now. I mean, sure, it's possible, but I believe I have so much happiness in my life that I can't imagine that I would want to give any of this up. And I want every single person who listens to join me. I mean, some of the things that I'm doing now that I've never, ever been able to do, the self-confidence that I have, just like you're starting to experience, I tell you, it just continues to get better every single day. And your best friend told you she wants what you have. Tell her she can have it. Show her she can have it. You've done that by making yourself the priority. When you hit your next 10%, it continues to grow. I'm incredibly proud of you. I'm incredibly proud of the email you just wrote in. It absolutely makes me smile from ear to ear, knowing that you have completely changed your life. You can start regaining some of those health benefits that you've lost. I've heard it time and time again on this show. People write in all the time, tell me that their new blood work came back and they're off their blood pressure medicine. They've reversed their diabetes diagnosis. It can be done. That's the beauty of sharing our success with each other. That's why I ask you to send in an email. I want to know what it is that you're celebrating. Let's share it on the air. Go to FatDag.com, click on Listen Now. Send in the celebrations, your comments, your questions. I'll work them in as part of the show. You can email it on air at fatdag.com, because that will tell other people listening that they too can have the amazing success that you're having. Well, that's going to do it for this time. Remember that losing weight and getting healthy has nothing to do with luck. You have to remain disciplined and focused. Set your sights on your goal and go after it. I wish you good focus.